Welcome to the Kelly Cardenas podcast, where attitude is everything. On today's show, I love this man already. We just got on a line, and he made me feel bad about myself because, as you can see if you're watching, how handsome he is. I asked him about his titles that he wanted me to say, and he was like, "Well, he's super humble about it." He's like, "Well, I'm an actor," and then about 5 minutes later, he stood up a little bit straighter and was like, "I'm a producer too." This young man has been on in so many live theater performances. Has been amazing. He's worked with Disney all over the world. Now he's in a new film that's actually, I believe it's premiering today in Austin, which I think is great. And we're going to be talking about that. But I am just so excited because the spirit of this young man, who he is, what he represents in the industry, not just doing what the industry tells you to do, but doing what's in your heart. So please welcome to the show, Mr. Trevor March.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I so am stoked to be here. I really like everything that you're talking about, the energy and the vibes that you give off and that you are about in this podcast. I am so here for it. So thank you for having me.
So let's jump right in, man. You're in Hollywood. You perform. You're performing live. You have performed live all over the world with Disney, everything like that. How do you not get caught up in the lights, brother?
Talk to me more about what exactly you mean by that, by caught up in the lights.
Well, you hear it all the time. People go to LA, they hop into show business, and before they know it, they have the tendency to not realize who they are. They've maybe lost who they are, and they wrap themselves around what the business wants them to be as opposed to who they are. And that's the reason why I wanted to have you on the show, because you're an example of a person staying who you are through all of the shiny lights and sometimes the dimmer lights, as we'll talk about later.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. I think that for me, to get personal real quick, is that I have a very strong sense of faith. And I know God. So for me, it's always been, this is a part of who I am, and performing is what I feel like I was put on this earth to do. It's something that I think God gives all of us talents and gifts that we're supposed to spread light into the world. And this is mine, and it makes me happy to do it. And that does not mean that it's not hard sometimes. Obviously, like, being an actor is really difficult because you have no's all the time, and you get used to it. You know that it's part of your job. There's a book that I don't know if we're able to plug things or talk about other
Yeah,
things,
you can talk about
but there's
whatever
a
you
book that
want, man.
okay, beautiful. There's a few different books in my life that I've read. I really like the sort of self-help world as well, but there's one book that's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it talks about what problems you want, and it's like everybody's got problems. You just got to know which ones you want your problems to be. And for instance, for being an actor, like, one of the hard parts if you're not an actor is you hear no all the time. And it's, you put yourself out there, you put your work out there, and all you can do is your best. And knowing that it's not because of you is great. And sometimes you're like, oh, it was me. That was an audition that I didn't do well on, and that's okay. And that happens sometimes because we're human and we can't be perfect always, But also, being someone who's been a producer and has been on the other side of the table, I've been very fortunate to understand that sometimes it's just like, oh, well, we've already cast this actor and we want a height thing. And so we can't have anyone that's taller than this person because we just don't want it to look that way. Or, oh, well, we're looking for someone who is, for the film that I did, Zemblanity, there was I had my role, and then there was the opposite role of me was a person that was queer, the character was queer, and we were like, oh, we would love that to be played by someone who actually is and can represent that in a truthful way. And so, that was one thing that when we were casting, we looked for, of being like, oh, well, is that part of someone's story? Can they authentically do this, like, or whatever, and you just never know what people are looking for. So being able to have the thought and understanding of, it's not all about me. Like, the world is not all about me. People are not telling me no because I'm wrong innately or anything. It's not. It's just that it's a huge giant world, and people are doing what is best for their stories and what they believe is going to make the best product to put out there.
Trevor, what shaped that mentality? Who gave you the permission to fail in the first place?
Oh my goodness, I have a wonderful mom. I have such a good mom. I have a great mom. I have a great dad. My family is really wonderful. Ever since I was a kid, they were putting me different programs for arts. So yeah, I mean, when I was really little, I was in a film program called Real Focus, where they literally, it was I had two fantastic teachers. It was done by our local library, and there was an editor that was on Ocean's 11, and there was a guy that was in special effects, and he did a movie that was like twice the amount of special effects as the first Harry Potter film. And they all were like, the story is the most important thing, and whatever you do, it's all to support the story. So in that class, we learned how to be actors, we learned how to be editors, we learned how to be cinematographers, we learned everything. I mean, it was like a fifth grade class, so it was you'd think it was like really, really basic, and it was, but it really taught the lessons of how important everyone's job is, and everyone did everything. So, I was up there with the boom pole being like, okay, well, I got the sound, or I didn't, or you fall. And like, that was when I was in fifth grade, I learned that, like, oh, you have to bend your knees when you're doing a boom pole, otherwise you'll literally pass out and faint if you're locking your legs. I had no idea that was a thing, but it's the little things you pick up along the way. And yeah, that was the foundation there of supporting the idea of everything's about the story. So even when I grew up and went into high school, and I was in an improv troupe, and they really taught me, again, everything's about the story. It's not about you. Yes, and it's all about when you get up in a scene with an improv partner. It's your whole thing is to offer them stuff. You're talking about them. You're gifting them who they are in the scene. It's not about, you don't get up in a scene with two people and you say, oh, well, I'm so cool because I'm from Atlanta, and in Atlanta we do this, and it's all about this, and I'm this way, because then your partner has nothing to do except talk to you about what you are, but then there's no connection. It's not interesting. You want to be like, you get up there and you talk about what they just went through, and how you're here to support them. And if they want to talk, that they can, but if they don't want to talk, that's fine. We'll just sit here and I just know that I'm here for you, or whatever it is. You just want to support them in a way. So yeah, I mean, my whole life's been teaching me little small different lessons on how the big picture of it all works. And yeah, then graduating to, or I mean, I guess I also went to a conservatory where they also were like, it's all for the story. Keep doing that, and that was another support of that idea. But doing Disney and seeing, like, there's no bigger picture of an entertainment company than Disney. It's just that's it. So to go and see their productions and have the inside scoop and understand all the pieces that it takes and every single person, like, we're all people. When you go and you see a show, you don't see people, you see the characters, and you're like, that, like, I do still, like, I go and I see Mickey Mouse, that is Mickey Mouse, there is one Mickey Mouse, and that is him. It's magic, it truly is. So but to understand that feeling of magic, and of the way that it makes my heart feel, is because it took so many people to make this amazing thing happen in front of you. And yeah, it's just such a gift to kind of know that, I can be a part of that, and I can make that happen. But it takes a village, and it's not personal when things don't work out. It's just part of the journey.
What do you wish people knew about acting?
Oh, um, hmm. Um, I think that America, I wish, knew that acting was more, it's an art and it's a craft. I feel like in other countries, like specifically England, like, I feel like it's a career. It is a career path that is valid, because art is a respected thing that you can choose to do with your life. And I feel like sometimes here in America, it's misconstrued as, oh, well, you want to be famous, so you're going to be an actor because you want to be famous. And it's kind of unfortunate, because in America, honestly, that's part of it. Like, I've been in rooms with real big casting directors, the casting directors of Moulin Rouge, and the casting directors of Dear Evan Hansen, where we were talking, and they were like, oh yeah, well, if it's down to two people in a room, and one of them is more talented, but one of them has 4 million followers on TikTok, we're going to cast the person with 4 million followers on TikTok because we need to bring in an audience. So there's definitely something to be said about a social media presence and getting yourself out there, which I totally can understand, but also it is a little frustrating to be like the feeling of, oh well, I'm doing this and I'm committing to this and I'm keep going, and oh, well, I'm not, you have to get recognition from somewhere. It's all about people you know and who knows you. And I guess the thing that I would say is that we're not all out there to chase, you know, like, I feel like some people think that everyone wants to be the Kardashians, and like actors always want to be, you want to be Brad Pitt. And it's like, you could be Brad Pitt. That's awesome. Brad Pitt's really cool. I have 100% great things to say about how much I love Brad Pitt. But, it's not all about the stardom quality, I guess. And there's a lot of work that goes into it.
So a thing that I want to rewind a little bit, because a thing that you said that really hit me was you were talking about two people in a scene, and as two people in a scene, if you go to talk, you're there to serve the other person, draw the best out in that person. This is not something that society, or I mean, as a whole or at large, thinks of actors, because I mean, I can say myself, I think of an actor wants to get on stage and the lights shine on them. Can you go? I mean, how were you able to understand that type of humility from such an early age? Was this something that your parents prepared you for?
I do think that from a very early age, I've always been able to see others and be empathetic towards others. That was something my mom always said when I was a kid. She was like, Trevor, you had this weird way of, you would come home from school and you would ask me how my day was. And she's like, and that's weird for like a toddler to do. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So, I mean, I guess that's always been there, but my mother has always noticed it and fostered it. And so when I got into scenes later, and in improv and, just in acting, realizing that it's about the other, and it's about, because I mean that's the difference between a scene and a monologue, is that, are you talking at someone or are you talking with someone, you
Mm.
know so if you're engaging and you're there, you can be on stage. Like there's the play Sonia Vanya Masha and Spike. There's a monologue, but it's a scene. But this guy is on stage with, I think, three other people. It's this old man character, and he talks about his whole entire experience of life and his understanding of, the different TV shows and genres that have evolved during time. And it's this beautiful monologue. And I think it goes on for like 5 minutes, but it's a scene. Like the way that when it is done right and well, you you have no idea you as an audience member are watching a monologue, because he's so engaged with the people that he's with, because he's the reason he keeps talking is because he sees it in their eyes that either they don't understand or that they're on his side, and so he has more to say about it, and so it keeps going, and it's just a stunning moment. And then by the time he sits down and is done talking, you as an audience member were like, wow, no one else was talking for the last 5 minutes and I had no idea. And that's what a scene versus a monologue is.
So, Trevor, as I was looking and as I got a chance to research you, and you have to research it, you got to check him out on trevormarch.com. He didn't want me to put that one up there, but he was like, check my Instagram. But I went and checked you, man. And it's crazy doing the research on you, because to look at it, it's like Disney, and then it goes lead, 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 Disney, 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 lead, 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 Disney, 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 lead, 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 Disney, Disney, Disney. And I'm actually, I'm not exaggerating here. Like it's Disney. Okay, but you keep telling us that as a lead, you're serving other people. You would
Yeah.
that to most people they can't. Their head is exploding right now. They're thinking, no, to be a leader, I've got to be out front, and everyone's got to be serving me. What do you say to that person?
To that person, I say leadership is all about it. You're leading a team, that's what the lead and leadership is about. It's the team. It's the whole thing about shepherding a flock and being like, no sheep gets left behind. You're all together. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So for you to be a leader, you have to support who you're leading.
So another thing, Trevor, is I want to go into Zemblanity, right? Did I say it right? Okay, so
Zemblanity, yeah.
Zemblanity. So Zemblanity is the movie that's premiering right now in Austin, and
Yes.
we're excited about that. I can't wait to see it. I want to talk about that, but to swing into that and to transition into it, you had said that as a producer, you sometimes would have a role, and maybe that role would call for a queer person, and you would want that person to have that type of experience. Now, as an actor, can you step into that role if you haven't had that experience?
That's an interesting conversation, Cal.
Have you seen this happen? Like, say, let's take queer out of it and let's put in I lost my mom, and an actor hasn't lost their mom.
Sure.
Are you always going to
Right.
choose the person who lost their mom or is queer, or are you going to be
No.
able to? How does it go?
No. So you want to, for me personally,
Yes.
you always want to go with who's going to tell the story best.
Ooh.
And if there are two people in a room and one of them happens to be queer and one of them is not, but the person who is not is the better actor and has the emotional understanding of what we're going through and can convey that to me better, then you're going to tell the story better than the person who's queer. And I'm going to cast you, and it doesn't matter to me because my story is going to be stronger because of the capability that you have as an actor that you bring to the table. And
What?
that's what I hope in other people behind the table think as well. Because as an actor, my fate a lot of the time is in their hands of being like, well, yeah, my mom's alive and well. She's great. She's here. But the amount of times I've cried over my dead mother in an audition is uncountable, But I mean, I've lost my dog. I've lost my grandparents. I know what loss feels like, and I can convey that to you.
Wow.
That's not something that's new and unattainable, but that's all about, training and understanding transference. Uta Hagen, Stanislavski. It's what brings you to the table of where you're at.
I love how you're a master of your craft. I like hanging out with masters of their craft because literally, I mean, as you hear it's not about you being an actor. It's you're connected with that. What story are you telling in Zemblanity?
The story we're telling is it's more of a question, and the question is everything happens for a reason, period or question mark. And it's what perspective you have as an audience member that takes you to that, which is something that I love that we've been able to cultivate in the film. Me and my partner Spencer, I had this original concept. It was just a concept that I was walking around one day and I had a one line thought that made me laugh. And I said, ha ha, that's so funny. What if I wrote that? And so I did. I called my friend Spencer and we wrote this script and we got it done and we looked at it and we said, huh, that's interesting. Well, what if we tweak this? And what if we tweak this? And okay, well, what does this mean now? And he had one perspective and I had a completely different perspective. And we both together wrote it. And so I was like, we've created something interesting. I'm really happy with this. And so it's does everything happen for a reason or does it not? And we have a character that truly believes that everything does. And there are things that happen that you as an audience member would say, is there a reason for that? Did you make that happen? Was it what? And it's interesting. The word Zemblanity is the opposite of serendipity. So serendipity is an unexpected great thing happens, and Zemblanity is an unexpected unfortunate thing happens. And it's interesting because it's been a new word, and while we have produced and made the film and now publicly released the film, the word has slightly changed if you look it up, and there's a connotation of intention behind the bad thing happening, which wasn't there when we first made it, and I don't know how I feel about that being there now as the title of our film. But from when we had it, it was the opposite of serendipity, and just something randomly bad popping up and happening.
Okay, this is a thing that I've wondered for my whole life because I've been a consumer of movies. I've loved them. I've loved live theater. The first one I ever got to see was Guys and Dolls when I was in high school, and I
Ah,
absolutely fell in love. My daughter
so good.
is honestly, I can't wait, Trevor, for you to meet my daughter. She's 13 years old, and it's where she wants to go and what she wants to do, and but she's at this place where at 13 years old, a lot of times you're not feeling a ton of confidence.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also too, it's a road less traveled, right? And so the question I have for you right now is like, you started off on a path that wasn't normal. Like you were saying in America, being an actor is not normal. It's not like, oh, well, you know, a lot of people are like, well, I want to be an actor. And then your parents tell you, well, you need to go get an education and then you can do that on the side.
Yeah.
How were you able to overcome being different from such a young age? And when I say that, like I got into my industry, the professional beauty industry, at a very early age. I was very supported by my family. I was lifted up in that, but it wasn't the conventional route. You didn't go the conventional route in life. Where did you find the confidence to be able to continue on in that and just be Trevor, who Trevor is?
You know, again, I got to point to God, and I got to say that there are certain things that integrally make me me, and that I know I feel good about myself when I'm doing them. And I think we all can find, hopefully, we all can find those things in our lives that we know we put our efforts into and they reward us back. And I think those are the things that God has planted the seeds and been like, this is the thing. Keep going down this path. And whatever path that is, you know, if that path is being a plumber and you're like, I am the best plumber to ever grace this earth, and I'm going to fix anything and I'm going to make everyone's day that I come into contact with, then that's amazing. Do it. Like, if that's what brings you joy to fix those problems, amazing. Just like that book said, you know, it's like, what problems do you want to have? For me, my problem is, well, you know a lot. And it's like, okay, well, I can get past that. I know that I'm worthy. You know I have a God that tells me that I'm worthy and I'm loved. So if you don't want me for your project, that's okay for me. You know, I know that there'll be another one and it's going to happen and it's going to be great when it does. And right now, this is great practice. And thank you for watching me. And you now know that I'm awesome. So we all win, you know?
Trevor, take us through that process. Like you just, I mean, you said it quickly and it rolled off your tongue. You were like, I had an idea, then I wrote it, then I produced it. Now it's a film. It's in film festivals. Okay, so a lot of people were like, "Trevor, pump the brakes. Just give me one. Let's take
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Let's take
yeah.
them through from concept to writing, like actually writing." Because a lot of people are like, "I got," and I'm sure you have this all the time when you hear that they hear that you're an actor or a producer. They're like, I got an idea for a movie. I'm just about to write the movie. And you're like, so where
Yeah.
are you in the writing of the movie? They're like, no. I had a thought and I talked to my friend over a beer. That's not writing a movie.
Right.
Take us through what it takes to be able to do it. And what's your process in being able to do this from inception to writing and then to producing and then putting it in a film festival and moving on from there.
Right. You know, it's funny when you made that list and you said, "Well, that's not writing a movie." I I agree that if that is the pinnacle and the final thing that you get to, that is not writing a movie. But I have all the respect and I have no doubt that that person who says, I'm having a beer and I have a thought, that is part of the process. And if you want to go and you take that thought and you write it down, like that is the next step. I have a, a so many notes in my phone, a huge entire list, and they say movie idea and it's a line. And for me, I just have to get the line down. And I know that if I have a day where I'm, you know, either feeling not myself or I'm feeling so myself, if I'm just feeling in the mood to be like, I'm going to make something happen today, I can always go back and be like, oh, are any of these ideas worth me making happen right now? Are any of them speaking to me here? Do I have the resources to make any of these happen? Um, and for me, it was, yeah, we had to set the scene a little bit. We were in a pandemic, you know. My industry had shut down fully. There was no way that I was doing anything. No one was casting. Theater was gone. I had, I in where I was in 2019, I was supposed to open my show on Disney Cruise Line on the Fantasy on March 13th, which was the day that the world shut down. It was either the 13th or the 14th. Um, I think the 13th was the last day of the last cruise that I was on when it was the other cast, and the 14th was it was supposed to be we got the full ship full of new people, and my cast was it, and we were starting, and the last people got off and no one got on, and then we were on that ship ghost cruising for a month with no guests, and then they sent us home. So I never got to open that year. I've since gone back and done a contract, and it's been okay and been great. But yeah, I got sent home, and I think it was April 4th. I got sent home, and I was unemployed and just trying to find a job, and no one was hiring because we were just no one knew what was happening. So everyone was like, okay, well, we're gonna get smaller and we're retracting people, and so it was sitting there with unemployment, or I don't even think I had unemployment. I think I was just and I don't because everyone was trying to get unemployment. We all were, struggling, and yeah, I thought, what can I do? And I had this idea that made me laugh, and I was like, that's what people need right now. People need laughter. People need something that makes them think, something that people can have a conversation about. We need connection because this world is so polarized right now that we're in, and to have a conversation where it's just, well, what did you get out of that? Well, this is what no way, I thought this. Really? Well, why? And like, just to talk. Like, I love that. That is who I am. If you are a friend of mine, if you know me, you know that when I sit down with you and I want to talk, we get in deep. I'm not here for the weather's fine and whatever. I want to know who you are. I want to know why you are the way you are. And let's talk about why you understand this way versus this way. Sorry, that was a huge tangent that I went on. It was not what you asked.
No, it's
But
right in line, man. I mean, keep going, keep going.
yeah. So I had this concept. It made me laugh, and I said, okay, this is something I think that the world needs, and I can do right now. I had a bit of money saved from having the months when I was on contract, and I was like, okay, well, I can make a super super indie film. And luckily, one of my best friends is a guy named Spencer Mead, and he is one of the most talented cinematographer directors that I know. And he's a one-stop shop. He's done it himself for a really long time. He's incredible. He's an editor. He makes his living editing. And so I called my friend Spencer, and he's written before. He's one of the things that I was in. The last film that I was in before I did this was a film with him, and he loves me, and we're just really great friends. So, yeah, I called him and I was like, "Hey, I have this idea. I have no idea how to write this. I don't know what to do, but I want to do it. Can we just get on like Zoom?" And I think it was Skype back then because it was before Zoom was like a thing. Um, but we got on Skype, I think, and then there was this app called, I think it was Writer Duo or Dual Writer. I don't know. It was something like that. But it's basically a format which has like a blank Google Doc page, and two people can write on it at the same time. So you could do it in Google Docs, you do it in whatever, as long as you can have two editors on a page. And I have a huge improv background. So I said, okay, I'm going to be person A and you're going to be person B. And we just improvised and wrote in an improv way. And we did a first scene and it was awful. And we said, awesome, it's not that. And we did a second one and we said, oh, there's something in there, but that's also not it. And with improv, again, you don't limit yourself. Like with anything, I think you never want to be, when you're in the beginning stages of writing something or creating anything, you never want to tell your brain no. You want to say yes, because if you say no, then that makes you question, oh, well, if that's not right, then maybe this wasn't right. And maybe I should redo that part before I can move on. And then, oh, but was I really right when I first started this? Because I mean, it's, and your brain just gets you. You want to be able to say, I am plowing forward with, the intention to do this. And a great quote that I know is from a really great writer, and I don't remember which one it was, but he said, I don't have to be, he said, I'm not a good writer. I'm a good rewriter. And all I have to be is a great rewriter, and I can be considered a good writer, you know? So we wrote and we wrote, and the first two were not it. And that third one, we wrote, and I said, that's it. There's something in this. And it was this scene, and it was two people, and they were out on a hike, and it was just two friends talking about a breakup. And one of them was really not okay and was pretty distressed, and the other one had some cool knowledge of some self-help concepts of how to shrink some bad thoughts and to just put them in a ball and get rid of them. And we said, yeah, that's the way it goes. And it linked in with the funny little one-liner concept that I had perfectly. And I said, that supports everything, and this is it. And from there, it was great. We take this out of this app, put it in another one, and we edit it, and we say, okay, let's build these characters. This isn't person A, person B. This is who are these people? And you ask the questions. And once you have asked enough questions, you get a full rounded character. And when you have two full people and you have their interaction, because it's not about, you know, what the dialogue is. That really kind of, I mean, depending, if you're doing George Bernard Shaw, then yeah, the dialogue's very important. But if you're doing, Chekhov, it's not about the dialogue at all. It's about what is the subtext underneath, and what are these two people trying to say to each other. Because, there's such a difference between hi and hi. It's like it's two flavors that are just whoa, okay. So you have to know who these people are. And when we got that, that's really when you can be like, okay, we have a script. You know who these people are, you know why they're doing what they're doing. And that's when we said, okay, yeah, we're going to make this happen. And we have to find out who this other person's going to be. And let's get a group of people together, and let's figure out how we can do this. So, because once you have a script in script format, and you know why and how and where and who, you have something. And when you do that, you can make it happen.
Help us with script format, because some people out there that are listening, they're like, script for like help this. These are things that are rolling off your tongue, and you are dropping bombs, Trevor. Like, I mean, all of us right now, I'm like, damn, like, because this is a thing that, and Sylvia knows. Sylvia is both of our hearts, right? I mean, a big shout out to
Yes.
Sylvia. She is
Love her.
one of the very few. But what I told Sylvia a while ago, it was podcast, books, TV, movies, and music is something that was on the docket, right? And I know in TV and in movies, there's got to be a script, but that sometimes when a person says a script, they stop at that because that word scares them because they don't understand what it means. If you were to explain it to my 10-year-old son, Trevor, break down script in 10-year-old right now.
Okay, so if we are 10, I'm gonna pull up my laptop, and I'm gonna go on Google Images, and I'm gonna say movie script. And then I'm going to scroll to where I find something where the dialogue is written in the middle. And it's not like how you have a page that goes this way and then your stuff is this way along the edge. It's where the page is in the center and the dialogue is written outward from there. And there's words at like INT period, and it's like intro or introduction, and it has you have in the beginning before a scene, it says where the scene is. It says what the feeling is of the scene, and then it has the character's name, the dialogue, the action, like what's happening, what is the camera doing, because is this, oh, we're close up on this, and some scripts are more detailed than others, I guess, to be back in 10-year-old. A script is
like, if to break it down like this, Trevor, we're at McDonald's. We're at McDonald's. We're at Playland. My 10-year-old son
Okay.
is playing around, and he's like, "Hey, Uncle Trevor, what's a script?"
Uh-huh.
What are you going to say?
A, s- a
What would you
script
compare it to a
is
10-year-old?
a script is a picture book with the funnest characters you've ever met, but the pictures are written down. So you can see them just as clearly as if it was a picture book painted in front of you, but it's just words. That's what a script is.
So, Trevor, I think a lot of times people get caught up with scripts too because they think that they have to write so many words. But and now being around movie scripts, we were just at a table read the other day for one. One of my friends is doing one, which actually you might be interested in, which it would be amazing for you. But we were doing it, and I was amazed at how little words were on the page.
Yeah.
But it gave you a feeling. Can you go into that part? Because I think, again, people get caught up and they're like, I have to write a novel for a scene. And a lot of times the scene is there's not that many words.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because truly, you want to, as a writer and a creator, it's kind of also what's your art form. And if your art form, again, if you're George Bernard Shaw, your power is in your words. And you can have the most amazing, everyone in your scene are the most intelligent people to ever walk this earth. And that's who's talking, and you're going to get what's coming out of their mouth. But if you're a person who is more introverted and is more either feeling or a person that doesn't connect with their emotions enough, maybe you're going to write people that show their emotions or intentions in different ways. And if that's by being quiet, and if, like, for instance, love languages, if you're an acts of service person and you don't really talk about your feelings, but you have a couple in a scene that's fighting, you're going to open and somebody's going to be doing the dishes. Somebody's going to be trying to do some sort of act that shows the other person that they're going to understand or not understand. And that's what the obstacle is. Are they seeing that this dishes that I'm doing are because I'm trying to convey to you that I love you and I'm working and I'm here? Or are my efforts going unnoticed? Am I frustrated because I'm clearly showing you that I'm invested in this and you're not getting that? And that's what a scene is. It's where is the tension? What is the obstacle? What is the intention? And you can do that in so many ways. And I love when the action is so clear that the words aren't needed. But I also love when you have words that are so powerful they can't go unspoken.
So what would be your actionable item? So like this is selfish. I'm gonna have you talk to my daughter for a second. She's 13 years old. I mean, when I say this, every parent is gonna be like, yo, my kid is the one, right? And I'm not, but she's got talent. It's raw, but she's got talent. What would be some
Yeah.
actionable items that she could do right now to start to prepare herself to be the type of, to go into the type of mastery that you have? And I know it's not going to be overnight. What you've produced in your life, it's a body of work. It's not just like, oh, wow, there were some special things that you did 2 times and then you become Trevor. But what would be some
Yeah.
what would be like the top 3 things that she could do right now to start to prepare herself?
Build your confidence. If you are a kid, if you are a teen, I don't care. Like, it's go and do things where you can shine. Get used to being in front of people and having your words matter. Go out there and do it. And I don't care if that's a community theater. If there's a community theater that is going to give you the spotlight and teach you what it feels like to carry a show on your shoulders, go do it. And if there's a place that's going to teach you how to be a great ensemble member, go do that. That's so important. I mean, knowing that everybody's role is equally as important, because the story cannot get told if not everyone is there. Like,
So
that appreciation for the whole thing is how I would say, yeah, go be part of stuff. Go create things. Um, Alan Rickman has a really great quote where he says, if you want to be an actor, he says, first stop acting. He says, go out and live life. He said, don't do it. Know what's good and what's bad. Develop your own taste. Go see different shows. Go look at different pieces of art and figure out what it is that you want to say to the world. And that's more if you want to be a creator. But if you're like, I want to be an actor and I want to get started, yeah, just go start doing it. If you want to pick up a couple, fun books along the way that'll help you. Um, I mean, I love. I think if you're 10, that's not really going to help. But Uta Hagen. Look up some videos of her. She has some great stuff on YouTube where it's her classes that she teaches, and um, there's one that I can think of right now where she is talking, and it's about kind of the realism of people in scenes. And there's a scene that she's in where she's a scene partner who's grabbing her wrists, and he's doing it in a way that it's really hard. And so she tells him, hey, you're really grabbing my wrists really hard in the scene, and we're just acting, so just remember it's just a light, and I'll struggle with my wrist is the one that's struggling, and you're just holding my wrist. And he says, well, but I'm really feeling this. And so he keeps grabbing her wrists, and she, the next time it happens, she does the scene and she goes, ow! And he goes, oh my, and she said, well, I was really feeling it. And she was really feeling him grab her wrists, and that's what really was happening in the scene. And it's learn to be present, go look up the masters, go watch good movies. But yeah, build your confidence, I would say, is number one, is know that you're worthy, and that if this is what you want to do, know that, and don't let anyone else tell you that you can't, because you can. Because there's going to be a lot of no's. That's a hard truth that's there. And again, it's what problems do you want? And if the problem is you're okay getting a few no's, and there's going to be yeses, and you can create your own yeses, even better.
Now, Trevor, is the progression with being an actor, is the progression to then be a director and then be a producer? Is that a progression? Or because a lot of times, like for me growing up, I grew up with Clint Eastwood as an actor, and then I saw him
Yeah.
direct, and then now I see him as a producer. Is that
Yeah.
that straight line, or is that some people go that way and not everybody, or is it something that is normal in the craft?
That's a great question. I definitely think that there is no cookie cutter answer to anything as far as people's artistry goes. You have your own path, you're on your own journey. There's people like Morgan Freeman that like work their whole lives and don't get noticed until, I think he was what, in his 40s, and then he was like, now he's Morgan Freeman. He's the voice of literally God in almost everything. Like, and he's this guy that was who was nobody for so long, but he always knew he was Morgan Freeman. Like, you got to know. Like, I know I'm Trevor March, and I know that that's going to be something one day. Maybe people know, but if not, I'm still me, and I know that the quality and the work that I do is top notch. So, yeah, you just got to know yourself and what you want to do. And if you're interested in being like, hey, I just want to be here, and the best way I can support this story is by acting in it, and that's what turns me on about this thing, then do that. For me, I was interested in. I have a voice that I know has so many different ideas and different avenues of how it goes, and I want to create stories as well. I don't want to just support other people's stories. I think my own, and finding the stories, because as an actor, a lot of the times the reality is in Hollywood, you're it's not like you get to scroll through and be like, oh, well, I would love to be. I mean, I have so many shows that I am like, I want to be in Book of Mormon. I want to be in Avenue Q. I want to be, in Stupid Fucking Bird, which is a Chekhov show that's modernized. Like, I have shows that I'd love to be in, but it's not like every single second they're like, oh, well, this is what's next. This is here. It's okay. Well, there's a breakdown, and I got this, and I'm gonna be sad boy number 4, and my line is, dude. Like, it's just sometimes that's what's there. And you don't have choice or say in what opportunities get thrown your way all the time. It's to meet where they are and do the best you can, and you show up. So yeah, for me, it's interesting to me to be like, okay, well, I don't have much money, but I have some. And if I don't always have all of it, I know places I can go where I can try to get it, and I can crowd fund, and I can do this, and I think this is a story that needs to be told, and I want to support that, and I can support this as not only an actor but as a producer, and I can take someone's idea, and if they're shining so bright because they know it's real and they want it to happen, I can help them make it happen, and that's exciting to me.
So Trevor, take us into that funding part, because this is the one of the parts. So we talked about the having a beer, have an idea. The difference between you moving on is just writing something down, is what you said. Then you write it down
Yeah.
and you start going back and forth, and now you have a script, right? Once
Yeah.
you have a script, now is the time where the kind of rubber hits the road as far as like starting to be able to pick up funding. Can you talk to us about a couple different avenues? Because some people are like, I remember as a kid, someone would say like, it cost, X million dollars to be able to make this movie. I was like, what the hell? Like, why? And then I look at like a movie like a Friday. And I don't know how much they had for Friday. I think it was a very small amount, in the low millions, if it was in the millions. And they filmed Friday, and then it becomes this cult classic, and everybody watches it, and it's like, so funny and all the stuff. Talk to us about the different avenues for funding, or is it, that I need to go to my savings account and pay the film guy, the guy who's going to film it, and pay the guy who's going to edit it, pay the actors. How do we do this stuff?
Just like the avenues of what you can do and what you can become, there are so many different avenues to how you can get money. Um, for for me, what I did was I had a savings in which I knew that I was willing to create my own opportunity of learning. And I said, I have this much money set aside, and this is an opportunity for me to learn no matter what. And so it's like going to class or like going to college. You learn by doing sometimes better. And um, for the way I did it was I had money, and I also had friends, and I had friends that were on my side and were like, we want to make this as much as you want to, and we're going to either put money in with you, or we're just not going to charge you, and we're going to do all of it with you and be as much as in as you are. And I'm very fortunate that I have those people in my life. And then later, after I spent my money and I hired the sound people, and I hired the cinematographer and the camera operator and the actor and the um, the score guy. I'm forgetting the word of that. But I hired all of these people,
Composer,
and then
composer,
composer. There we go.
composer.
Thank you.
How is it that I know that,
Yes,
Trevor? Come on,
like
man.
it slipped my brain. But thank you for catching me there, Kelly. Yeah, but I was able to do that, and then once I had something, I did a crowd fund afterwards. And I said, look at what we do. A lot of people do it the other way, where they say, look at this concept, and they have a video of themselves, and they pitch an idea. And you can do Kickstarter, you can do Indiegogo, you can do GoFundMe, there's so many different campaign things. You should look out if you're looking to crowdfund or something, and you're listening to this right now. Make sure you look at the specific website you're looking at, and see how much of a cut that website takes just for them using your website, and how much traffic they bring that is not just from you. Because for me, after I did my first film, I had stuff, and I had a full trailer. I literally had a full film that I already made the film. I was trying to kind of make my money back, and also get money to get the film out to festivals. That was really the main reason why we did the crowdfunding in the first place, is because we wanted to be able to get our film out to the world.
Yeah.
And it was really great. I kind of made back my initial investment, and we got it out there. And with that money, I was able to put it into the next film, and that is about to have that campaign's about to drop, actually, in this later this next week. But you can. There's so many people out there that will tell you, spend other people's money, and don't spend your own money. And I think that when you're in a place where you really know what you're doing, and you have confidence that you can get a return on other people's money, that's valid. That's totally cool. But I would never touch other people's money if I wasn't comfortable putting my own down first. And for me, like, I wanted to have a product that I was proud of, that I knew I could show, and that I could give people a return on. And everybody that donated to my campaign got a link to the preview of my movie a week after the campaign was over, and we had a online Zoom meeting where I showed them the screening before anyone in the world saw it for a year. And they got to watch the movie, and we had an hour-long chat. Sylvia was there; she was a part of it, and that was one of the best nights of my life, to be able to be in a room full of people that believed in me or my partners, and showed up, took time out of their day to watch my movie, and then talk to me about what they thought about it. It was so cool to be like, wow, I was part of making something happen in this world that is now out there, and people can have their own thoughts and opinions, and it's art. So the cool thing about art is that anyone can think anything they want about art. You can watch my movie and say, that's the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen. And that's valid. Like, you can think that. And there's other people that'll watch my movie and say, oh my gosh, I'm having an existential crisis because I don't know, like, what's happened. This is so brilliant. This is the pinnacle of art. And that's valid too. Like, I think that it's just so exciting and cool to be part of a world where you just can create things and put it out there, and people can feel whatever way they want to feel about it. And for people that can respect that, finding and creating something that does that is an art in itself is really cool.
Let me ask you this, Trevor, when you were talking about, there's a lot of different routes, right? From actor to producer to director, and they're not all the same. There's no cookie cutter way.
No.
The same way in producing a film too? Or is it, is that kind of route to make the film, take it to festivals, get recognition, and go that way? Is that a normal? Is that, when I say normal, there's nothing normal in art, but as normal as it could be in art, is that is that the path?
You know what? Before we go to that, you just said something that inspired me. I know, to go back to the whole cookie cutter route thing as far as actors go, I know a lot of people also think that in the world of theater and film and all of the performing arts, that if you don't, there's a whole saying, if you can't teach, and there's a lot of people that think, well, if you can't act, then you direct, or if you can't act, you produce, or if you can't act, you cast, and that's not true. There's so many different wonderful ways that you can be a part of creating art, of the performing arts, if that's tech, if that's being a stage manager, if that is a casting director, if that is a director. If those things excite you more, like, a lot of people get into acting and theater and whatever because, yeah, when they were a kid, they were in a show, or they were backstage at a show, and that was something that was fun. I even had someone when I went to my conservatory, and it's a really tough conservatory. And there was, at the end of my time there was a casting director that came in, and she had actually went to the conservatory. And she said to all of us in the room, she said, I went to this conservatory, and the one thing I learned from being here and doing all of this work and doing my best was that I don't want to be an actor. She said, this is not what I want to do, but I love this. And so I became a casting director, and I'm so happy that I did that, because that's where I'm meant to be. And there's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's just follow your light, and what that, what that attracts you to do. And that can be, so many things. So, okay, I wanted to say that and get that out of the way. It's not failing if you don't make it as an actor, you do something else.
Trevor, you drop bombs, man. I can't wait for you to listen to this. I can't wait for you to listen back to it, because you're experiencing it right now. You're on that side of it. We're listening, and we're just like, I'm sure the people out there are scrambling to grab a notepad and be able to write down the Trevorisms that are coming, right? But
Flattering.
the festival part of it interests me because one of my brother-in-law is a cinematographer, and I mean he's amazing. And they just did a film, and they put it out in film festivals, things like that. I know what their thought was in doing it, right? Because they wanted to have it possibly picked up for a series, go all the stuff. Did you have something like that in mind, or did you just want to get your idea out there?
To be honest, with this one specifically, I wanted to get it out. I wanted to see what people thought. I wanted to just have it be seen by the world. This was kind of this was my like sort of first. This was my baby. This was the learning experience. I have grown so much as an artist and as a person in this industry just from making this happen myself.
Yeah.
It's if you can produce a film and you want to, I would say do it. It is the best learning tool. Yeah, I feel like I have a master's in this because I just did it, and you learn what it's like between all the different jobs and behind the different tables. And yeah, it's amazing. But I do know that if like, for instance, my film partner Spencer, he has uh, a series that he wrote, and it's a full 10 episode half-hour series that he has, and he's been wanting to make that happen for years. And he made the first episode a while ago, and he brought it out. I don't think he actually sent the filmed version of it out, but he sent the script out to different festivals, and he won awards for writing. Um, and and I think his intention was, oh, maybe someone will pick this up. And I don't think anyone did just yet, but he did get recognition for doing it, and he wants me to actually turn that into a podcast, which that's something down the road that we're maybe going to get into later. But we'll see, you know. But yeah, there are definitely different intentions you can go into with festivals. Getting it out there, getting it picked up. I mean, obviously, the dream for anyone is someone sees your movie and they say, "Oh my gosh, you're the best person ever. I need to work with you," or like, "I need to hire this actor. I need to hire this writer, whatever." And people just get turned on by your art and they want to work with you.
Yeah.
And having people see your stuff and see you, even if it's not to do that, even if it's, oh, they see you, and then next year when your next film comes out, or 2 years or 3 years from now, they say, oh, this was really good, and you remember 2 years ago that other thing we saw them in, that was that person, and that was so good too. And then you start building, the puzzle pieces, the track record. People say, oh, you've been around. Oh, we recognize you. We know that you're a face that we like, and that is worth something too, just to be around and be recognized. Because I mean, even psychology wise, you are more attracted to faces you just see more. That is just human psychology. And if you are more attracted to them because they're talented, because you see them do the thing that they do, brilliant. Do that. That is worth it in itself, just get out there.
So when you're looking at it, man, and with Zemblanity, which I honestly I can't wait to see now. I wish I would have got to invest in it early. Then I would have got the link, and I could have got to be a part of the party. I didn't get to go to the party. You're gonna have another party for all the rest of us that get a chance to watch it. When do we get to see this? How can somebody? How can somebody right now watch it?
It's up on YouTube. It's up on YouTube right now. It just got released this week. It's up there. You can also go to zemblanity.art, and there's a website that will just take you to the YouTube link. But you should be able to look up Zemblanity. There's not that many of them. It's a pretty unique name. But yeah, it's up there, and you can watch it right now. It's free. At the beginning of the film, you'll see there's a bunch of little laurels, and those are awards that we got from different festivals from going and doing the circuit. And it's exciting. Yeah, it's cool. It's out there. So watch it, and then leave a comment. Let us know what you think. I'd love to hear it.
So Trevor, I've talked about this quite a bit, but in different industries. But my wife's uncle is a coach in a professional baseball. And I asked him, I said, how is it that you're able to coach these? I mean, amazing athletes, like, because number one, the ego is huge, and you know, but also too, they're so talented. They have hard work, they have perseverance and all this stuff. And I said, so what do you say to these people? And he's like, I just ask them how they're doing. He said, because the difference between a home run and a ground out is like that much, is like less than an inch on the swing.
Wow.
So the swing could be an inch or like less than an inch higher or lower, and you're going to either foul out, ground out, or hit a home run. And he said, so the difference is so small. So this is the question I have in your industry. Okay. When you're looking at movies, it's not like the lighting is better, so it jumps off. It's not like the talent of the actors is so far different. I mean, it's inches. It's inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
What makes a film explode like a Napoleon Dynamite and one never get seen?
You know, if I had the answer to that question, I would be rolling in dough right now. Everyone would know my name. I don't think that there's, again, like we said before, there's no cookie cutter answer to get to that. It's a journey. It's perseverance. They say that an overnight success takes 10 years, you know, no matter what. If you're an overnight success in Hollywood, you've been there for 10 years. And if that means you've been on Broadway and doing that thing, and then somebody finally finds you and now they put you in a film and people get to see your face, there's so much work that goes into this art form. And especially when you're an actor, like specifically for an actor, your audience it just depends on how big it is. And if you're a person, I mean, I can't really speak for social media people. I don't know that world. I'm not a TikTok famous human, but I know there are people that I have worked with that are. And I know there are shows that I've seen with my friends in them where it's like, oh, they got this because they're this amazing, talented actor. And she got this because she has 4 million followers on TikTok. And I've seen it where that person is amazing and they bring something awesome. And I've also seen it where that person is the worst person in the show and they're not here because they're an actor. They're here because they're selling tickets and people are seeing them, but they're not seeing them be good. So is it really good? Like, you know, it's interesting. But I guess to answer your question is I don't have the answer. The answer would be to just keep going and to put your best foot forward and work with people that are good and be kind. Just be kind. Everyone wants to work with people that are good people. If you're a person that comes into I've worked with other people who have come onto my set and they're atrocious. And it's like, oh, well, great. I've learned that I don't want to work with this person because of how they're acting. And they won't be back on my set. And that's fine with them because they didn't treat me well when they were there. But the people that show up and that, you know, say, how can I help? That want to be a part of it and are curious and interested and bring their best, those are the people that I will always hire, no matter what I'm doing. And when my budget gets bigger, they will get a bigger cut. They are always, you know, the people that I want to support. And yeah, for the movies that me and Spencer make, we always have a thing that for our proceeds that it's like, okay, well, what percentage of the film is going to where? And when you get into big times, there's, you know, you have SAG and you have different unions support you that pay you out differently. I had a girlfriend that was in the prom and she just got like a $1,000 check in the mail. And she was like, oh, well, that was cool. I'm just SAG. And so I just got this because there was proceeds that happened for this film. And it's like, well, that's really awesome. But for us, you know, when you're a non-union indie making things happen, if you do get something big and you can pay people back, that's a really rewarding thing to do, to be able to get people and give people what they've put in. And even if it's just recognition and just appreciation, you know, when you're starting, just to know that you're making something happen and you're working with people that believe in what they're doing, that's really important and that's awesome.
Trevor, if Hollywood was a person, okay, you're thinking in your head, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about what Hollywood as a person would actually look like. How they would act, how they would walk. Would they have a shiny suit on? Would they have gold chains? What would they have? I want you to think about that person. Okay. And I want you to think about where they come from, all the rich history, all those things. And it's embodied in a person. And that person walks into the room, sits down across from you, Trevor. What do you say to them? What would you like Hollywood to know that's in Trevor's heart?
Hmm. Hmm. What would I like to know? What would I like them to know about me? I feel like I have so many questions for them. I feel like I'm just so interested to hear what they have to say. I'm hungry to know what what is the lasting thing, you know? Like I want them to know that
Like
I feel like their
you're
vibe is so chill.
you're an improv person. I want you to take us
Yeah.
into that scene, and I want you to think that
Mm,
Hollywood, the person, is sitting across from you right now.
yeah.
And you get to
Yeah.
either ask as many questions as you want, or you get to tell them what you think.
Yeah.
What is that conversation going to be?
Yeah. I think that conversation starts out by being like, wow, your dreads are awesome. I love how chill you are. I love that you show up all the time, that you've been here for so long. I love your work ethic. I love that you appreciate art and you bring us a platform that gets to have us express our hearts and bring us feelings. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to work with you. I'm honored to be in your presence, and I recognize that I'm here to show up and to work with you. Um, yeah, I want you to know that I'm here to make a lasting difference and impression of my own. I'm here to um, bring what God offers me to bring to you. I am a vessel for Him, and I'm excited to do that and be here and shine big and and yeah, and leave a cool trail of films and art that people will be able to look at for a really long time, just like the many that have come and worked with you before. Um, yeah, I think that's how that would go.
With this newfound friend, Hollywood,
Yeah.
what do you wish the world knew about Hollywood?
Hollywood has a lot of faces. Hollywood has many costumes, but real real Hollywood is grounded. Real Hollywood is is the longevity of a career. Real Hollywood is the people that show up and are nice. Real Hollywood, yeah, you don't stay in Hollywood long, or you're not welcome in Hollywood for a very long time. With Hollywood, to work with Hollywood, to hang out with Hollywood, you don't get there by being an ass. You don't get there by thinking that you're the coolest person and not having anything to show for that. Like you gotta chill. You gotta be here. You gotta know your power and be grounded and be able to be in the room with Hollywood. You know, that's a big energy to just be able to be chill with. You gotta walk into a room and be like, oh yeah, there's Tom Cruise and there's, you know, Angelina Jolie, and here we are, and these are my peers now because I'm in this room with them doing this thing. And you gotta be able to have that energy to say yes to that. And if you cannot, then Hollywood will sense that you are not chill and not in the vibe that we need to be in to be able to do the thing that we got to do, you know, and you're not going to be in that room very long or for a while until you can do that. And if you can't, then that's also a lesson to learn. Um, yeah.
Trevor, how can a person find that chill? Because you know, a lot of times kids are so excited, or when I say kids, like, you know, if they're young in their industry or, you know, just as a person, you have this at parties all the time where, you know, you've had many pinch me moments in your life, right? You've been around, sir. You just talked about, and you weren't name dropping, but you were talking about different producers or talking about special effects people that had done certain things.
Yeah.
How can a kid settle in when you're saying like, hey, I'm just Trevor. Like I have this grounding, and no, what about that kid who doesn't have the parents? What about that kid who doesn't have the grounding and knowing who they are in God? Where can they start right now to start to, because you don't want to be around that dude who comes in your party and is trying to kick it. You want the person that's just like, hey, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We're here. Yeah. You know yourself, know your power. I think for me, when I was really able to start doing that, and not to say that I never had, yeah, like you said, those pinch me moments of like, oh my gosh, this is who is in the room right now. That's really exciting. Wow. Like, and that still happens. Like, if I'm ever going to be, if I'm in a room with Meryl Streep, there will not ever be a time I feel like right now as Trevor that I will not be like, oh my God, that's Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is right there. Oh my God, Meryl Streep, Meryl Streep, Meryl Streep. But that's not what would be coming out. It would be like, oh, hi, how's it going? Like it's how are you? Because I also know, my brain knows that Meryl Streep is a person. Meryl Streep is an actor who's been doing this for a really long time, and she's so good at what she does, and she cares so much, and she wants to do her best. And so if I bring to the table that Meryl Streep is a person that I can talk to that just wants to be talked to like a person, then Meryl Streep will hopefully, respect me and understand that I'm also a person that she can talk to. But if I come in and I'm, oh my God, I love you in this movie, and Devil Wears Prada is my favorite thing in the world, and oh my God, when you did this, and oh, you're the witch, and you did this on Broadway, and what was this like for you, and blah, 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 blah. She's here to do her job, and if I'm coming at her with that is her job is not to be. She's not in an interview. If I'm meeting her in a room where we are actors together, if I'm able to work with her in that capacity, then she's there to work on the project that's in front of us. And if I'm asking her things about this project or her life that pertains to this, or how her day is doing right now in this present moment, then I know that she is a person and she can know that I'm a person. That chill that I'm talking about is simply that, the recognition of one's own humanity and others, and seeing that and connecting to that because we are all just people.
Mm. Who's going to be the one, though, Trevor? Because we all have one that's going to make you lose your stuff and you aren't going to be able to stay cool, Trevor. And I'll tell you, the reason why I say this, and people would ask me this all the time. They were always like, who do you want to meet? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, they're people. But I tell you, like, and you probably won't even know his name. You won't even know who he is, Trevor. You probably won't even know who he is. Chuck Woolery.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
Chuck Woolery?
Chuck Woolery. He was the host of Love Connection. And he was the smoothest dude. This was like 70s, 80s, like bootleg talk show. If I saw Chuck Woolery, I would lose my mind. I could be in the room with Brad Pitt and I'd be like, yo, what up, Brad? How you doing, man? I like you. I was in the room with Denzel Washington backstage at a Lenny Kravitz concert one time, and I made the joke. I was like, hey, Denzel, people always tell me that I look just like you. And it just like, it was like the record skipped, and he just looked at me like, you are, like, what's wrong with you? I mean, true story, man. Cindy Blackman back there playing drums for Lenny and, the whole nine. But Chuck Woolery, I would lose my marbles. I wouldn't be able to come to. Who is Trevor's person?
I think it probably is Meryl Streep. There's a list that I have of my favorite actors. Meryl Streep is like Jim Carrey, Meryl Streep. I mean, yeah, Robin Williams was like my favorite. God rest his soul. And there's people like that. I mean, Andrew Reynolds was one of the people that I thought that I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind, and I was doing this show, and he came, and it was an interactive show, and he was there, and I saw him, and I surprised myself because I kept cool. I was like, he's here to see this show, and I know that, and it doesn't matter right now that he is one of the people that made me think musical theater is one of the coolest things in the world, and why I decided to do it, with why I put my life and said this is what I want to do, is because of a show that he did. And I was able to be like, that's not what he's here for, and I know that. And if I get the chance to talk to him one day and be like, dude, you're a huge inspiration to me, and like your work is awesome, and I have so much respect for it. And yeah, I'm just so happy that you're here on this earth. Like, I would love to say that to him, but that's not what that moment was. And um, if I have that opportunity with Meryl Streep, I will tell her that same thing. She's fantastic. I am a huge, huge, huge fan. A huge fan. That's how big of a huge, huge fan I am of Meryl Streep's. But anyway, yeah, yeah, those would be them. That probably is that list. Jim Carrey, Meryl Streep. Um, yeah.
So, Trevor, I want you to talk to the young actor out there. And I think every young actor has a fork in the road. And they're at that
Mm,
fork in the road. One part of the fork, one direction is to go after everything that will put them in the limelight and put them in almost put them in that place right away. The other road
mm,
is, I think of like I think of like an icon, like I think of like a Brad Pitt. I think of uh, as far as other actors that I look at that take projects because they believe in them, and then everyone
mm,
else believes later on. But it takes a longer road for this to be able to happen.
mm, mm,
You're standing at that fork.
mm.
That young actor comes. What do you say to him?
Do you want to be here right now, or do you want to be here now and later? Do you want to have longevity in this? Is this what you want to do with your life? Is this something that you're excited about right now that is just something that you're here for? And if you are someone that is here for right now and for fun, and you want to do something that you're stoked about, do it. And either that can lead to more, and that can be awesome, but really that decision is yours to make. And I would never tell someone to pass up an opportunity, because I think that opportunities are put in front of us for a reason. Um, but if there's an opportunity that is put in front of you, which you integrally know is not for you, I would say listen to that voice, because that voice is what is going to bring you and keep you on the path that is yours. So stay true to who you are and do what that voice is telling you to do. And don't doubt it. Don't doubt yourself. Know that your power is worth more than what other people are going to tell you it is or is not. That is not what it is about. It is about you being authentically you and showing up the best that you can. So go forward with purpose and pride and strive for excellence on that journey.
I started the podcast, Trevor, because of my two kids. Maddox, who's 10, little superhero. He's just a ball of joy. Every single, like, he's excited about everything. He has the best. I mean, his attitude is through the roof. I mean, it's on another level. He's 10 years old. Then you got McKenna, who I told you about. She's 13 years old, and she has the biggest heart in the world. She's got a phenomenal sense of humor. But just the love that she has in her is incredible. I started it because I wanted to take iconic people like you, and I wanted to show my two kids that anything is possible as long as you
Yeah.
control the only two things that you can control in life, which is your attitude and your effort.
Mm.
What advice do you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could use both of their names, it would be awesome.
Maddox, keep that energy that you have. Keep that excitement about life and what makes you happy. Follow it. If there's something that that is new and different to you that you don't understand but you're excited about it, learn about it. If there's something that you want to not do anymore because it doesn't excite you, feel free to let it go. Don't be held down because you've done something or because something has happened to you. Follow the light and excitement that makes you you. McKenna, if you have a huge heart, same thing. Follow your heart. Your heart is something that will always tell you where you are and lead you in a way that you won't look back on and have regrets. So so never doubt that what your inner guidance is telling you is the way to go, because it sounds like you're very connected to that. Um, and do what makes you feel big and shine bright and makes your heart feel like it is a, a golden beam radiating out into the universe. Let others have the love that you have to give, because that is a gift that not everyone can give. So follow it.
Trevor, you have been, I mean, this has been mind blowing, man. I mean, really has on so many aspects. I mean, not only just from it's great because when I started the podcast, my dad told me, my dad just passed away December 19th, but he told me when I started the podcast, he said, son, it's not about what people do. It's about who they are. And, you know, this journey that I've been on with the podcast is helping people to be able to tell their stories, again, not about what they do. I mean, we talked about what you did, but you could hear, you could feel, I mean, it comes through the screen, or it comes through just your headphones of who Trevor is. And I want to compliment you, man. I mean, it has been dude, I'm on fire, right? Like, I don't know. I think everybody else out there that's listening is on fire too. Zemblanity,
thank you,
Zemblanity.art. You need to go to YouTube right now. You need to watch this. I can't wait to watch it.
And let us know what you think.
I tell you, you have been absolutely phenomenal, man. I mean, it's a mind blower. And what I want to do is I'd like to have you on the show more often. I'd like to have you come on. I mean, when you have projects, can we get a sneak peek of the project that's coming? You said that you alluded, but you just threw it out there, a little taste. Is there anything we can know about the new project that's coming?
Yeah, the new project that's coming is called Parlay the Hard Way. It is
hold on. Say it again. I think you broke up. You broke up a little bit, so I want people to hear this. Say it again.
Parlay the Hard Way. It is a story of two gamblers who are meeting for to settle a lifelong debt with a permanent solution.
When does Parlay the Hard Way? When is this one coming?
Parlay the Hard Way. This one, there's going to be a Kickstarter campaign that's coming out within hopefully the next week. And if you go and donate to that, you will be given a virtual ticket to its virtual premiere. And like I said with Zemblanity, you know, in 2020, it'll be a room full of people that are there to support and watch the movie, and you'll be the first people to see it in the whole world. And we'll watch the movie. It's going to be 9 minutes. It's just a 9-minute film. It's a short. And then there'll be a discussion afterwards, and all the creatives will be there. And if you want to come and be part of that conversation and let us know what you think, let us know what you loved, let us know what you hated, let us know what you think we should do, like talk to us. It's a conversation. You're welcome to come. So look up Parlay the Hard Way on Kickstarter. And it'll be out soon. There'll be a trailer there you can see. And but yeah, right now look up Zemblanity. Go to Zemblanity.art. Look up YouTube, Zemblanity, Trevor March, Spencer Mead. These are our names, who we are, and this is the work we put out. So yeah, thank you so much for having us. Hello, I'm speaking as me and Spencer are here. No, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. You provide such a great spot to shine and ask wonderful questions. And yeah, you're open and give the platform to let me be my best self to be here and show up today. So thank you.
I'm going to say it another time, Zemblanity.art. And you guys need to go and check this out. Check this guy out. Check this human out. All the links are going to be in the description in the podcast. And I want you to go to those, and I want you to connect with this young man. I just think that you're on such a phenomenal trajectory, and I want to speak life into that because I know that you're at a place. I mean, you're in a place as far as in your heart, and we hear it, that it's not like you need these things, but I want to tell you, man, we need more Trevors in this world. We need more masters. We need more people who have committed to the mastery of something as opposed to the flash in the pan, the shiny thing right now. And it's an inspiration to so many people out there, man. And, you know, now's the time, if you're listening, check out all the sponsors, click the links, do the things that you know you need to do. But I just want to thank you so much. And I tell you, what I've been telling people, Trevor, is there's 3 concepts that I believe that are the most important in our lives, or been important to me at least. And you're a product of that. Number 1, be kind, right? Be of contribution to everyone.
Amen.
Number 2, make friends. Sylvia Hernandez, I love you. You're my friend.
Yeah.
I forced you to be that way. And now I get a chance to have a friend named Trevor, who I'm going to force to be my friend for the rest of his life.
Yes.
And the last one, which you created in all of us, is to stay curious. To stay curious about what it is that we're doing and what other people are doing. And I tell you right now, I am so on fire. I'm not going to have a beer because I don't drink beer. I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to have an idea, and I'm going to write something down. So I thank you. I thank you, Trevor. You are amazing, man. And you are officially off the hot seat.